Welcome to the VATSIM Jacksonville RTAC. If you're watching this class instruction, then you are a new controller who has not been on VATSIM before, and you are new to our Jacksonville RTAC. And these three classes, along with a single visit with a mentor to make sure that you're able to use the software, is all you need to get on and start listening to the traffic at any of the airports in Jacksonville. My name is Dr. Chuck Kowaleski. I'm an S3 controller here at Jacksonville and also a mentor. And in real world, I do fly IFR. So we're going to get on with it and get you through these three classes. And then you can schedule with a mentor or instructor who will help make sure you got the software loaded and various data files downloaded. And you know where to get the data files and that sort of thing so that you can start using the software to hop into the system and listen to the traffic going on in the area wherever you happen, whatever airfield you happen to log into. So we're going to have an introduction to VATSIM in this class. We'll see what you need to do to get started, what the sites are. I will put any links into the description so that you can find them there. And we'll talk about some of the Jacksonville RTAC concepts. So VATSIM is short for Virtual Air Traffic Simulation Network. It's completely free. Everybody's a volunteer, even me doing these videos. And it is a worldwide system. Therefore, it is really a very large virtual organization. By sharing a single set of servers and common software, we can provide a seamless environment for simulated pilots to work in a realistic air traffic control environment anywhere in the world where we provide controllers. It's about as real as it can get. There are other services out there, but they don't adhere to the regulations for the aviation community as tightly as we do. The lone exception for that would be a service called Pilot Edge, which is on the west coast of the United States at this time. That's a subscription service, however. What they do provide is guaranteed coverage 24/7, all the way from en route down to the tower and the delivery in the ground. So for those who need a 24/7 service, they can go there. They also have fairly strict requirements for their controllers to have so many hours and have so much training to make it a very realistic environment along the western seaboard of the United States. VATSIM was founded in July 2001 by a group of individuals who thought this would be a great idea. And so the fellow who wrote the original software is a real ATC controller who really worked on software in the real world and knows how those software systems work. So he was, as a software developer, he was the perfect fellow to. Russ Carlson is his name. He's still with us and he's still working on software, and he makes very realistic software consoles for us to use. The mission is to create a global community for learning, sharing experiences, and pursuing new opportunities in the virtual world. Indeed, many people who fly and control in the VATSIM environment have their aspirations to go on into aviation in a similar career. The VATSIM structure in general narrows down, and it's useful to know that so that if you go to another country, another area, you have some idea what the structure looks like. So VATSIM is the big network, and the Board of Governors and the Executive Directors govern the actual network itself, the servers and the rules that keep the servers going, and which software is allowed to attach to the server and that sort of thing. They're the ones who will work with big companies like Microsoft and X-Plane in order to ensure that the server software that we have and the interface software that pilots use will work seamlessly with the simulators that they produce. VAT-NA stands for North America, and this is one large region of the network, and it is the entire continent of North America, not just the United States. It's also Canada, South America, Central America, and they govern the North American continent airspace and the subsequent divisions. One of those divisions is where we are. That's VAT USA, obviously for the United States. And the VAT USA policies govern the more day-to-day operations unique to United States airspace and the air traffic facilities. So the VATUSA folks are the ones who are going to be looking at the regulations and the way the airspace is set up and ensuring that uh, the, the individual areas called the RTACs are following those real life regulations. So each RTAC is a separate space within VATUSA. Each of them have their own management staff and membership. You're in Jacksonville RTAC right now. We call these are RTAC stands for Air Route Travel Control Centers, and you'll see that even here we subdivide it even further so that we can adequately staff the airfields. And this is what our RTAC looks like. The solid line is the high borders and they're mapped geographically to the ground. The dotted ones are the low borders. You'll learn about the high and low RTAC borders in future classes. Don't worry too much about that. This is a picture just to give you an idea of what our space covers. As you can see, we cover all of Florida and out well into the Gulf of Mexico. We cover the southern portions of Georgia, and then we go up the seaboard and we cover into North and South Carolina, as well as a large space in the Atlantic for the oceanic routes going across the Atlantic. And of course, we go down the peninsula. Interestingly, we cut off with Miami below us right at the Orlando International Airport. So it's a little bizarre that way, but when you're controlling departure or approach, you actually end up working with two center control systems. You work with Jacksonville and Miami to manage the aircraft going in and out of Orlando International Airport and the surrounding satellite airports. Now, you must go online and review and sign for the VATSIM Code of Conduct, the VATSIM Global Ratings Policy, and the VATSIM Transfer and Visiting Controller Policy. All of these policies were written due to experience and the health of the VATSIM community, and so they're relatively strictly enforced. When you read the Code of Conduct, you will see that they have rather strict enforcements of the settings in your software. In fact, most of those settings we take care of as I'm the facility engineer for Jacksonville, so most of the settings we take care of as facility engineers, but you as a user will have settings that you can change, and you will need to know what the code of conduct is in order to know what the appropriate settings will be for the position you're working. And then there's some VATUSA policies that you'll want to go to this link. Again, I'll put all these links in the description for you so you can go review them. Most of the time, if you come here for these classes, you've already gone through most of these policies. And if you have, that's great. You should review them periodically. They do change on occasion. And as I said, there are online supervisors who are ensuring that folks are adhering to the various policies. So to get started, the first place you're going to want to go is to our website. You likely have already gone to our website, but if not, that'll be in the description link. You'll come up to this. This is what it looks like, and you'll go and click on the login button, and then it'll take you to the VATSIM single sign-on where you'll put in your VATSIM ID and your password. And that'll log you into the website. And then you can explore the various other drop downs from the menu. Discord is our primary communications site for Jacksonville. Again, we'll put the link down here, so if you haven't joined it, you probably already have, but if you haven't, you must join the Discord, because all of our communications that are not on the website are in the Discord various topic areas. So we have opportunities to get into pilot chat if you're flying, other folks are flying, you want to fly together. We have, there's actually a help where you can type for help and get help right away. As you can see, we have PD here who's actually in the lobby, and he's muted, so he's in the lobby probably for texting with someone. And there's quite a few here that you can experiment with. NORDO is an abbreviation for no radio. And we use that to say that you just want a quiet place to go. You're still connected online, but you don't want to talk, and you're not going to be talking to anybody. On the right side, you'll see all the people who are logged in at the time, and the different colors. These colors do change on occasion, but the organization of what they mean does not. So RTAC staff will be at the top if they're online. VAT USA staff, there's usually a VAT USA staffer somewhere on our Discord, and then the various controllers and the visiting controllers, and below that is all. There's also pilots. You can be a member of the Jacksonville RTAC and only be a pilot, and not necessarily be here as a controller. We do need to know of a valid email, and that's required. So go to your vatusa.net, log in there, same login. You're going to use your VATSIM ID and your password. And then once it comes up, you can go over to My VAT USA and click on the profile and update your information there. Make sure you turn on to receive broadcast emails. You're not going to get spammed on this. It's not going to be given to anybody else. It's only going to be for significant information. It's also, if you get into the attention of one of the supervisors, and I did the first day I was on, I had my settings wrong and didn't know it. And the supervisor showed up within 10 minutes and very politely asked me to correct my settings, which I did. I also, the very first time as a pilot, didn't realize that because there was no tower, ground, or delivery working the airfield that I started up at, I assumed that meant the airfield was closed and I could taxi on Unicom. I got a very polite email from a supervisor after he kicked me off the network that said that's not right. When the Jacksonville Center was controlling, I didn't realize it. I didn't even know how to change the frequency at that point. I was still very new. But he sent me a very polite email that told me how that worked, and actually he went ahead and put in I could set the frequency up so next time I wouldn't do that again. So you're not going to get scolded, but you will get useful information from a supervisor. So we have some social media as well. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'll put these on here so that you can go and visit them. The primary things we use, however, are the website and the Discord channel. So let's do an introduction to the RTAC. We have 64 controlled towers. We have well over 100 controllers, both who are based in Jacksonville and visiting. Once you get up in your rating, you'll be able to visit other RTACs. We have letters between those RTACs that say exactly what you can do. Generally, the agreement is that if you are a rated controller, then, and certainly with the minor ratings, that you'll be able to go to any of their facilities, read their SOP, and get on and control the cab, for example, at the minor facilities. If you want generally the rules for the major facilities are the same as we have, which is you need to get the basic spin up or in service on the major facility, and then do a quick sweat box with one of their mentors or instructors, just to make sure that you understand what their SOP is and that you understand how to control, and then they'll let you control their major facilities. This is probably a low number now. It's gone up, but at the time the slide was built, there was about 3,000 flights into and out of the RTAC a month. Remember, the RTAC mission is to provide the friendliest, safest, and most efficient experience to every pilot on the VATSIM network. Despite what you might think in your head for these pilots who are very new and don't really know how to use their simulator, while we're on the network, we stay very professional and we do everything we can to help them. And we will give you instruction on how to prioritize when to help them later in some of the classes. But the point is that sometimes these are very new pilots, and you're expected to have a great deal of patience and professionalism at all times, even when some of those pilots strain your credulity of their ability to fly their simulated airplane. The RTAC structure is fairly the same in all the RTACs. There's an air traffic manager. This is the representative for our RTAC to VAT USA. He may be active in the RTAC, but his primary or her primary job is to work with the VAT USA staff to ensure that our RTAC is current and is operating efficiently. Therefore, most of the operations actually falls to the deputy air traffic manager, and she or he takes care of most of the operations staff on the RTAC. The training administrator also answers directly to the air traffic manager, and that is to ensure that there's quick decisions on training that's required. For example, when I built all these videos, I did it with the training administrator, but we still went and checked with the ATM to make sure that he was okay with the plan to do these videos and put them on the web for you to use. So the deputy air traffic manager directs the events coordinator, the facility engineer, that's me, so I answer to her, and the webmaster who builds that pretty website that you use. We can all have optionally assistants. Uh, I do. Howard is the assistant FE, and frankly, he's been around many years longer than me, and he's probably forgotten more about facility engineering than I have learned. So I really value his presence. There is an assistant webmaster as well, and there's an assistant event coordinator as well. Under the training administrator, they have assistant training administrator, instructors. The instructors are the only ones who can actually apply formal certifications and update your training for your certifications on the VAT USA website. And then mentors like me who just help out by providing videos like this or extra time to help you on Sweatbox, that sort of thing. So the training program is where you are at now. You are at the beginning of Student 1. After these 3 classes and you get on observation status so that you can actually get on the system, you will go to the S1 classes here on the videos and run through the first 6 classes. After you do those first 6 classes, then there'll be a knowledge exam, which is pretty much an oral exam. It is open book, by the way, so don't stress too much about the knowledge exam. And then they'll get you in Sweatbox, and they will take everything that you learned in those 6 classes and apply it in the simulated system called Sweatbox until you're comfortable. Once you're comfortable, then it's simply a matter of doing one more with the instructors, one of the instructors, and once they see that you understand what you're doing, you don't have to be perfect, just have to be reasonably understanding of the knowledge and be able to do it. And I think the toughest thing is getting the phraseology right, how you say the words. But once you get that done, then you'll be on and you'll be doing the smaller airfields for delivery and ground control. And then you'll work up to the Student 2 rating with tower control, and then you'll go to the approach departure control. Now, anywhere along the line, you can get your major certification once you got the minor. So you can get your major for clearance and ground in Orlando. You can get your tower certification for Orlando, and you get your approach departure for F11, which is Orlando and the surrounding fields. You do have to have all the majors done up to S3 before you can start working on the en route control. Many people ask which to do first or which pathway to take. I will honestly tell you it does not matter. You do what you find is most comfortable for you. Many folks wanted to get all the way to the tower cab so that when they go online in a smaller airfield, if they're the only ones there, they can do all the roles. Some folks are eager to get into the Orlando International Airport space, and so they'll for each step, they'll go ahead and do the major certification as they move up through the S1 through S3 status. It doesn't matter whichever you want to do. So there's a standard progression, as we said. There is learn tower and apply it. There are some written exams as well as a live over-the-shoulder session. We don't really call ours exams. You can't really fail the over-the-shoulder. You can just be identified for some things you need to work on a little more. So you go back and you do that, and then you go back and do another over-the-shoulder until you've accomplished it. And you can work at your own pace on that. Some people grind through it really fast. Other people take months. It's whatever you have time for. There's no pressure there. So after you get your S2 and you can control all the minor fields, including tower, then that's at that point this pathway says to learn the tower and apply it, and that means getting your major for clearance and ground as well. Then you will actually have a over-the-shoulder for tower, and that will often be live, so you'll be on the actual uh, system when you're doing this, and there'll be an instructor who's monitoring you. Same thing for well, and the same thing for major. Once you get all that done, then you'll be able to control the cab anywhere in the RTAC. So to start, after you've gone through these classes, uh, you can go to the training website and you can choose a session. I will tell you that it's very hard to find instructors or mentors who have time to do the minor training, and that's why these videos were created for the classroom. In order to get you through the classroom stuff, and that way when you're working with a mentor or instructor, you're actually working on practical things. So you find their name, you choose them, and it'll show you a calendar for what's available, and then you'll sign up for that. Now, a couple things to know about this is you won't be able to sign up one day in advance, and we want you to cancel with that. Because of that, we want you to, if you know you can't make the class, please cancel 2 or more days in advance so that someone else can potentially grab that slot and get a training session performed. If you don't show up for one of your training sessions that you set up for and you didn't tell anyone, we keep track of those. And it is possible, if you've done that 3 times, that there will be a discussion between you and the TA, and they will determine whether you're a good fit for Jacksonville or not. So we do take no-shows seriously. Please avoid that. Please take the time to cancel 24 hours or more in advance. So you still need to review our Jacksonville RTAC documents. We have a variety of policies, SOPs, and LOAs. Mostly that's the nuts and bolts of how the RTAC works and how we work with other RTACs. There is a link that is on the website to all of these. And if you click on the link that's in the description, it's just going to take you to the Jacksonville website where you can see, if you hover over the controllers, you'll see the links to the folders where all those documents reside. So what are these, by the way? Policies are they cover the operations of the RTAC in general, and as they point out here, an example of that is minimum activity need to be an active controller. SOPs are how things operate, so there's an SOP for every airfield where we routinely control, including Orlando, and that has the details of that particular airfield, like what's the first altitude you should give the pilots when they take off, what heading should you put them on when they take off from the runway, the direction of taxiing on some of the taxiways. That sort of thing will be in an SOP, and there'll be an SOP for every airfield. And in a big airfield like Orlando International, there'll be a couple of SOPs. There'll be one for the cab, or where the tower and the ground and the clearance delivery folks are, and there'll be another one just for the approach departure SOPs. For the smaller airports, we put them all together. And then LOAs, or letters of agreement, are between the RTACs, and they define things like visiting or the altitude. So, when a plane is flying from one RTAC to another, we often have some rules there. For example, if they're flying between Jacksonville and the Atlanta airport, which is very busy all the time, we have an agreement with them that we will always put the pilots on one of the FAA preferred routes into Atlanta so that the Atlanta controllers can expect a reasonably less chaotic, let's say, arrival plan for all the airplanes. We have the same thing with Miami. There are also events, and the events are in the events channel in Discord, and they are also maintained on our Jacksonville website. On the website, you can click on the events page, and you can click on an event, and then in there it'll tell you the positions that are needed for that event. all you have to do is click on the ones you're allowed. Obviously, you want to click on the ones that you're allowed to do. And for example, S1 might just be delivery or ground for now, but you'll click on the request button next to that position, and that'll log your name as you'd like to do that position. And then when it gets closer to the events coordinator will run through all the volunteers' names, and he'll sort out who's going to cover what position. Since there's often more than one person who wants a position, please, once you click request, you're making a commitment to be at the event on time and beforehand in order to get the briefings before you sit in that position. So if you can't make it, message the events coordinator or the assistant events coordinator, let them know, and then go on the website and click on where it said where it will now say requested. When you click it on a second time, it'll turn the toggle off. And that's the end for Class 1 onboarding. We'll move on to SOPs and policies in Class 2.